Welcome back to the Apparition Files. Today we are going to talk about zombies. Now, zombies are pretty ubiquitous in the horror genre. It goes all the way back to 1932 with Bela Lugosi and White Zombie. It's actually quite a good film. But the term itself was coined in the 18th century. It goes back to Haitian and voodoo culture. There were stories of voodoo priests and priestesses able to reanimate corpses to make them do what they wanted. And frighteningly enough, there's cases of zombies in the real world. There are insects that are taken over by fungi, and the fungus forces this apparently pretty much dead insect to do things that will help the fungi reproduce. There's also a zombie virus that was found in Siberia by scientists. It's over 48,000 years old. Something reminds me of The Thing here. And one can argue that there are zombie human beings if you've ever seen people just stumbling down the sidewalk staring mindlessly at their phone. Now, I touched upon this in another video earlier, but the original White Zombie, that took its cues from actual voodoo rituals. They used that as the basis for zombification. And it wasn't until the original 1968 Night of the Living Dead where we have the zombies that we know of in pop culture today. And George Romero's version of the zombies, that was the basic template that we've had for decades. In Return of the Living Dead film series, they more focused on eating brains as opposed to just the whole person. But of course, in The Walking Dead, they were back to just eating the whole person. I mean, why waste food? But it wasn't until recently that you started to see a change in how zombies are portrayed on film. Movies like Quarantine and 28 Days Later, they featured it more as a virus, kind of like a rabies virus. And the zombies were anything but slow moving. They were just ravenous beasts in just killing machines that were intent on infecting and consuming anyone they could get their hands on. But in between those two, we had a completely different take on zombies, a very sci-fi take, the Borg. So unlike the first version of the zombies, where it was a voodoo ritual, the later versions, which people just raise from the dead strangely and mysteriously, in some of the Return of the Living Dead movies, I think it was some sort of chemical, some sort of military gas that caused corpses to be reanimated, or in Quarantine or 28 Days Later where it's a rabies virus. The Borg were completely different. They were infected through nanotechnology. And they didn't even use the term infected, they used the term assimilated. And it was the Borg that were intent on spreading their Borgness throughout the galaxy, throughout the universe if they could. The infection would be spread and their bodies would be not only lose their autonomy, but they would be augmented to all serve a hive mind. And between the actual existing zombie fungus that takes over insects, the zombie virus that was found in Siberia, and the invention nowadays of brain chips, which are starting to be implanted in human beings, and the talk of using nanobots to go in and repair things in the human body, is it possible? Could we actually have some version of a zombie outbreak? Could it be a fungus infection? Or could it be nanobots that take you over and you completely lose your autonomy? Something to worry about. Thanks for watching.